competitiveness, and what are we going to do if we educate everybody else? Well, I generally take the view that we're better off educating the best and brightest from around the world for several reasons.
They stay here.
Well, sure, but I would actually say, there's almost two ways you could look at it. Sure, number one, if they stay here. And Silicon Valley, you name it. So much of our sort of economic prosperity in recent years has been driven by immigrants. I'm very much in favor of having as open possible borders, and it's a complicated discussion, but certainly among the highly talented immigrants, I think that we're making a terrible mistake putting limits on H-1B visas, and those are the visas that allow skilled immigrants to stay, and they're only for a few years, but there have been. It's gone down a little bit with the economic downturn, but typically huge waiting lists. And there is a danger. People like Vivek Wadhwa, who's an entrepreneur sort of turned pundit, who the Kauffman Foundation, where I work, has given him some support. He is really concerned that people won't even come here to study if they don't think they can stay on to work, at least for a few years. So we may be losing people. We don't know who we're losing with those kinds of policies. If people stay here, and which many do, they find a way, that redounds to our benefit. But the other thing is, even if people come here and they do a PhD and they work in a lab while they're doing that, again, they're generating research and knowledge. And if you believe that universities are about the quest for truth, and also that the meritocratic principle, which I didn't really touch on so much in my overview, but that's very important to what's happening. If you can get ahead more and more, not perfectly, but increasingly based on what you know, not on who you are, I think that is part of what universities should be about. And I think that there's a whole argument that even those who return, again, we know this has not always been the case. Unfortunately, some people who've become our enemies, have started here. But many of those who study here and return to their home countries, I think, take away some fondness for speaking about the U.S., for our country, and for our values. And I think that's very important.